Hello, everybody. This is Maureen Quenda, your podcast host, and you are listening to the Empowerment Minutes podcast. It's a podcast to empower you with nuggets on learning and development, training, leadership, coaching, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. As you all know, I'm a learning leader, researcher, speaker, coach, and consultant, and author of the book, Dream Big and Live Your Dreams Boldly. I'm also the CEO and founder of EMK Learning Solutions, LLC. I've had the honor to coach instructional designers and trainers to become better leaders. So if you have any need in those areas, I'll be more than happy to help. So I'm really excited to be back on the show this week for another empowering episode. We have a special guest today. But before I introduce you, I want to take a moment to say thank you so much for being a fan of this podcast. You take the time every week to listen, and this means a whole lot to me. It's even more exciting that as of last week, we've now being able to stream through Amazon Music. So we have many more channels that people are tuning in. So thank you so much. Yes, let us know if there's any feedback. Would be more than happy to help. So thank you. So the focus of today's episode is on building and leveraging your table. I'm sure you're thinking, what does that mean? And I would say that I'm a bit biased this week because the focus is really about women. And I'm not going to say everything yet, but I'm passionate about women and girls. And so who we have on the show this week is going to really be blessing us with a lot of nuggets on women empowerment and mentorship. So without much ado, I would like to invite our special guest and say welcome to the show, Caroline. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be a guest on the show. I know many listeners are wondering what's this all about, but let's get started by you introducing yourself, what you do in a nutshell. I'm sure our guests can't wait to learn about you. So take it away.
Hi, Maureen. I am so pleased to be with you today and to be with your audience. My name is Carolyn Warren, and I am the CEO of Carolyn A. Warren Coaching and Leadership Development.
Mhm.
I've coached women for 30 plus years. I have been married for over 50 years.
Mhm.
And I'm a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur. My husband and I, we own 2 businesses. And we've also pastored a church for a number of years that we have now retired from. I have always been passionate about women. I was so happy to have three daughters. I think having daughters is the most exciting thing that a mother could do. But I have always been excited and passionate about helping women to understand who they are, who they were created to be, and so that they could live their purpose.
Mhm.
We have so much inside of us, and helping women to identify what their grace, what their skill set is, and
Mhm.
helping them to live their best life.
Thank you so much. Like I said, I know we have a special guest today, and this is really a topic that I can talk about all day, all night long. It's just so empowering women. And I'm so glad you've been doing this for this many years. And I know that the people who've had the opportunity to work with you, they're at a better place in their life. So thank you so much for the great work you're doing. This means a whole lot to me because I am very passionate about empowering women as well. And the title of my podcast, as you know, it's titled, Empowerment Minutes. I'm really excited about empowerment, not just for women, but empowerment in general. I mentioned earlier that we both have that in common, but I'm interested in your story, which will definitely help someone listening to this episode. So, why women empowerment? What is it about women empowerment that you're called to do?
Well, I think my role in all of this is helping women to bring clarity and focus.
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at the world today, there are so many distractions for women. There are there's so many opportunities for comparison, and so women are, we have TV shows, we have books, we have magazines, there is TikTok and everything else that are saying, this is who you should be.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you should wear. This is how you should dress. And this is how you should talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe that one size fits all. I believe that every woman is an individual. Every woman has a unique grace. Every woman has a unique set of skills. And because of that, we all have an opportunity to lead, to be solutionists, to be movers and shakers in our communities and in our places of business. And so what I want to do is to encourage women not to look outside of themselves and say, okay, who should I model? Not that we need positive models, but more importantly, look inside and say, who am I? What is it that I do well? What is it that causes me to grow, to feel that I am at my best? And there's so much conversation about living authentically. We say, okay, we want to live these authentic lives, but we're basically being encouraged to live lives where we are copycats. And I'm saying to women, no, you are not a copycat. You are an authentic original. And I want to help you understand who you are and the impact that you can have in the world.
Those are really some powerful words that you've shared. Indeed, society is shaping, or women, some women are allowing themselves to be shaped by society because of what they see, because of what they hear in school, even from what their parents teach them, because they don't know better. This is a great opportunity for women to really take a step back and say, maybe I'm 30 years old, I'm 40 years old. Whose life have I been living for 30 years now? Have I been living my life, or, living the life that I have been prescribed to live? And going forward, what can I do to really live my authentic life, like you mentioned? So those are really powerful words. And I'm encouraging anyone who's listening to what Caroline just shared, that try to listen to your voice, try to find out who you are. You would even live a happier and more fulfilled life. And so thank you. Now, we've talked about the idea of building a table. So some listeners might be thinking, what's that all about? What are you really referring to? I know we're going to talk about your book later on, but what do you mean by building a table?
Well, the first thing we talked about was that self-identification, understanding who you are and what it is that you carry. That opens up the door for you to have impact in modeling and impact and sharing your wisdom, sharing your voice, creating a platform where you can pull people in and allow them, where you become an advocate for them and also assist them in their growth process. I wrote earlier, a table is intentionally creating growth opportunities for those we meet. At the table, we allow them to feast on our wisdom and insights, enabling them to become their best selves. For me, this personal growth and development is all about becoming a greater servant, a greater empowerment person, a person who is empowered to a greater degree to impact the lives of others. It's all about giving out and taking what it is that you have and serving it on a platter, providing a meal of identity and growth and understanding and learning how to walk alongside someone else. So a table, I think of it as the analogy of just, when we sit down at a table to eat, and there's all these, there's an entree and there's sides, there's vegetables, there's salad. All of these things are there for us to take a portion and ingest, and that allows us to grow and to be stronger in individuals. The same thing, we can do the same thing with our wisdom and the insights that we have. When we invite people to come into our sphere of influence, we are actually setting a table and we're saying, I have some wisdom, I have some insight, I have some knowledge that will help you on your path to success, and may even eliminate some of the pitfalls and some of the mistakes that you normally would have made. And I believe that if we step back and say, okay, how can my life be more impactful? And really, for me, that's what success is all about.
Okay.
Can I help others be successful?
Absolutely. I have on here on my notes, saying that of what use are our gifts if we can't share them with others. From what I'm hearing you describe, as building a table, it sounds like that it has a lot to do with mentorship. Do you want to share some more on that?
Yes. I have been privileged, throughout my life to have had some very powerful women mentors. And I believe that women mentoring other women is a vital rite of passage almost, because we understand the struggles, the concerns, the issues that another woman is either processing, going through, or may be going through. And I believe that it is also very important for women to validate other women. So when a woman validates and says, you are worthy, you are a person of worth, it brings that woman that she is speaking to, it helps her to elevate her sense of self-worth and identity. And so mentorship is a very vital part of this whole process. And as I said, I've had some very powerful mentors during my time of growth. And one in particular is my mother. And, just someone who is just full of wisdom, a very simple woman, no fanfare, no, just an ordinary, what the world would probably consider to be an ordinary woman. But I don't believe any of us are ordinary. That is just a title that maybe the world may say, that some of us are ordinary and, others of us are famous and all of that. And so sometimes we can get distracted by thinking, okay, because this person doesn't have a title, they don't have a name, they're not famous, they're not on TikTok, they're not on Instagram, they're not on TV, that what could I learn from them? There is a lot that we can learn from one another, and see and hear the life story of some of these women, and to see how they got to where they are, some of the struggles that they've had to overcome. And in that, there is wisdom for us.
What you just shared is really powerful, and I definitely agree, because I belong to many of those groups, mentoring programs, and I attribute my success also to some of the great mentors that I've had. And this also speaks to my academy, the Dream Big and Bold Academy, which offers mentorship for women and girls. And I've seen that there's been a lot of success, and I can definitely testify that it works. So from your perspective, and there's so many years of experience you've had with this and being an author, which I know you're going to share shortly, I'm curious, what are the strategies for building a table, like finding those people? What are some strategies that you can share?
Well, I think the first thing is that the woman has to have a mindset shift
Mm-hmm.
that she is now intentionally going to share her gifts, that she sees herself as being a gift, as she sees herself as being someone who has something to offer to another woman. And I'm going to say woman, but yeah, I think this applies to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
because my niche is women. Then I think that one of the simple strategies that I share in my book is the 3-minute rule. And it is that every day, let me back up for a moment. Sometimes we think that we have to have these concrete, formal encounters,
Mm-hmm.
and those are great. But we don't always have to have a concrete, I'm mentoring someone at 10 o'clock from 10 to 10:30. There are what we would call accidental types of meetings,
Mm-hmm.
interactions that we have throughout the day when we are meeting with people. And if we are sensitive, I believe that we can sort of pick up on, okay, this is more than just an ordinary encounter. This is not an accidental encounter. This is just not something where I just accidentally met someone or they crossed my path.
Mm-hmm.
But how can I intentionally now make select opportunities to give and to share?
Mm-hmm.
And so in my book, I have a 3-minute rule that intentionally every day you endeavor to give 3 minutes to someone that you meet, that someone that you encounter, that for 3 minutes you give them your undivided attention. It's not about you. It's not what you're going to get back, but it is about zero in on that individual,
Mm-hmm.
connect with them. How can you encourage them? How can you empower them? How
Mm-hmm.
can you make them have a shift in 3 minutes? And you can do it. I shared with people recently, I was at the grocery store and I was at the checkout line, and
Mm-hmm.
the line was long. And, I only had a couple of items. And so the couple of people in front of me were, people were starting to grumble. And I'm a pretty patient person. So I just, held on to my, couple of items and, stayed in the line. But when I got up to the front of the line, when I finally got to my place where I was with the checkout person in the grocery store, I saw why we were having a problem, why the line was long. This person was a trainee. They had a badge on, said I'm training or whatever. And then also I could tell that they possibly had some kind of learning challenge. And so I thought, okay, this is why the line is long. But I am, this is going to be my 3 minutes.
Okay.
And so I said to her, oh, I am just so glad to see you today. And, oh, I see that you are a trainer. I know what that's like. I've been in situations where, it's taken me a little bit of time to get comfortable and learn all the steps, but, you stay at it. It is going to be easy. It's going to be easy. So don't give up. Don't get discouraged. In 2 weeks, when I come back through here, it's going to be a breeze for you. And, she made a mistake and, in ringing something up. And I said, oh, I am the most patient person in the world. This is not bothering me at all. And so I thought, I know I made her day.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, she could see on their face that, I'm struggling, and their response to me is causing me to struggle and doubt myself. And
Yeah.
I thought, no, don't doubt yourself. You are my 3-minute person today. And so it doesn't have to be that we are mentoring in a structured environment. It can be, the barista at Starbucks,
Mm-hmm.
or, the person that pass in the mall. You don't know what a smile can do for a person, or you sit down next to somebody on the airplane, and
Mm-hmm.
give them 3 minutes of your time, and just because there's something that all of us carry, and
Absolutely.
we intentionally have to decide that today I'm going to give it away, and I'm going to at least do it for 3 minutes today.
3 minutes of the whole 24 hours that we have.
Yeah. And that's so little. You still have all the other rest of the day to do whatever it is you want to do.
It's very powerful, your 3 minute rule. Someone might think it's just 3 minutes, but 3 minutes of being very intentional, 3 minutes of recognizing when there's an opportunity for you to really use or apply the 3 minutes. It's another thing that someone has to have that degree of consciousness and awareness to take advantage, like in your particular situation. And you applied it, and right in front of your eyes, you could really see how it worked.
Mm-hmm.
So if people are listening to these calls, being kind, think about your own 3 minutes. What can you do for 3 minutes? How can you make someone's life better by applying Caroline's 3 minutes rule formula? It's so powerful. I've made some notes here, and I agree that most times people think it has to be a structured way of being able to add value to someone's life when we think of mentorship. But you're right? You have to know when the opportunity is, and you have to have that awareness to definitely seize it, because like we say, it takes 7 minutes to make a first impression.
Mm-hmm.
How can 7 seconds to make a first impression? So how can you use your many seconds, 7 seconds that are in 3 minutes to make that lasting impression for someone in need? It doesn't take a lot, but
No.
it's a lot for that person. So,
And if I could just interject just for a second, one of the things that I believe we have to be aware of is that, we are doing all these affirmations. I am great. I am marvelous. I am whatever you want to put at the end of the I am. And I'm not against that. Everyone needs to be affirmed, and to have an understanding of their own self-worth. The problem I have is that when we think that I am, and that's where we stop. I am great so that I can help someone else to be great. I am empowered so that I can empower somebody else. If we just stop with I'm empowered, or I am great, or I'm beautiful, and if I can't help somebody else be elevated in their beauty or their destiny or whatever, we've just created a self-centered society.
yes.
With self-centered, self-focused people running around. And I don't think that is our goal. Yes, I want you to be great, because in your greatness, you can uplift someone else and help them to be great.
Yes, and pass the baton. That's powerful. It's just like a half statement from what you're saying. I am. You have to do the whole thing to be able to do that impact, because by doing that, you're also fulfilling your own purpose. So, you've talked a lot about your book, talked about the 3 minutes rule. Can you just tell us what the title of the book is, and where people can find that book?
It is The Women at the Table: Ordinary Women, Ordinary Moments, Extraordinary Impact. And it is available on Amazon. And it is called The Women at the Table because the women that I share my story and those women who mentored me and who walked alongside of me, they all were friends of my mother, and they sat at her kitchen table. So these were women who sat at the table, which happened to be in my mother's home in our kitchen. And the subtitle is Ordinary Women, Ordinary Moments, Extraordinary Impact. These were what the world would call ordinary women. None of them were educated. None of them were wealthy. None of them were, had a office in the C-suite. None of them had an expensive zip code that where they lived. They were all ordinary women. Very simple, common women, but these ordinary women had a gift. These ordinary women were unique. These ordinary women had wisdom and insights. And so they took ordinary moments or ordinary conversations or ordinary interactions, and they elevated them to an extraordinary place because they were willing to give and to share of their wisdom, their insights, and their knowledge. And so one of the things that I encourage the reader to do as she is reading through the book is don't be discouraged if you don't have if you're not an Oprah or you're not Michelle Obama. That's okay. You don't have to be Michelle Obama. You are who God created you to be. Yes. And inside of you, he has already placed a gift. He's given you, there is a reservoir of discernment, wisdom, understanding, gifts, grace, empowerment, motivation, encouragement. There is so much that you're just you are actually filled to overflowing, and you need to give that out. And so we don't have to be this high-powered lawyer or anything like that. All of us, even those that the world would call ordinary, but we're not ordinary. Right. We are gifted. And so when we use our time to engage people in those simple conversations or those accidental meetings that we happen to have and impart into their lives, we create extraordinary impact. And this is what these women did for me. Sometimes it was just a simple conversation. Part of why I dress the way that I do today is because one of these ladies said to me, Carolyn, the color that you have on is the wrong color. It doesn't accent your skin tone. And this is what does. A simple conversation from a simple, ordinary woman who just told me, okay, Carolyn, this color doesn't compliment you. And that little 5, 10, 20-minute conversation became an extraordinary time of impact and change for me, that even to this very day, I choose colors based on that conversation. And so I want all of us to see that you are no accident. You are not ordinary. If you've got letters after your name, that's fine. But if you don't, you still have a purpose. You still have a destiny. People are waiting for you to show up and have a conversation, invite them to your table, and create an extraordinary interaction where they are still utilizing and implementing the wisdom that you shared in a 5-minute conversation. So I don't think that what I share is the exception to the rule. I think it should be how we live.
You've shared what it means building a table. So I want to encourage the listeners out there to go on and build a table or belong to a table. Because just like this one person that Carolyn shared, that a simple 5 minutes conversation transformed her life, by you being part of a table or building a table, you have so many lives to transform. And so I definitely see how in the process of doing that, if you can comment on this as well, Caroline, you would, in the process of doing that, definitely you would be able to even contribute to your personal and professional growth, right? Because you can only give what you have. So you have to build yourself up to be able to be a giver.
Definitely. Right. Yes. And I think that when we realize that we are on a continuous path of growth and development, and I believe all of us should be ever learning, should be ever expanding our truth, our wisdom, expanding our voice, being able to articulate and have an even greater influence in the world. And I mentioned earlier that my husband and I, we have two businesses, and there is so much we are living in a time where entrepreneurship is on the rise. And there are those who want to step into being a businessman or woman, but they don't have those individuals who can sort of come alongside of them and help them. And so sometimes it's just the simple things that you take for granted. If you are, someone who is in the law profession, how can you take that expertise that you have and possibly just have a conversation with another woman to maybe steer them towards that profession? What was it that caused you to make that turn, and how has that decision impacted you? And so I think sometimes we are walking around waiting for to be hit by a lightning bolt. And no, it's just have conversation, be open, take the first step to engage another person. And wherever you find yourself, if you are the president of a company, or if you are someone who, does the garbage, it doesn't matter. All across the spectrum, each individual has wisdom, each individual has life experiences, each individual has a wealth of information that someone needs. And it doesn't matter where you find yourself. Again, my mother is she just turned 102. Wow. And she worked as a domestic most of her life. And we had guests. I'll share this little story, and I know we're heading towards the end. We had guests the other last week, and so I fixed a salad, and I fixed a salad dressing. And they said, "Oh, this is so good. How did you make it?" And I said, "Well, this is my mother's recipe. This is the salad dressing that she always made when, we had a particular meal and we had this particular salad. We always had this particular salad dressing." My mother is a great cook. And so she has had wisdom. She didn't have a college degree. She wasn't wealthy, but she had this gift for cooking. And she enjoyed being able to set a table for people and for them to enjoy a great meal. And even to this day, I am using her salad dressing that is impacting someone's life. So even if it's something as simple as that, you've got a special salad dressing that everyone just raves about, you are having an impact. And so everyone has something to give. Decide, what is it that God has given you? What is it that you carry? and make the decision to give it. For my mother, it was giving them a gorgeous, delicious meal that everyone would rave about.
You know, I would love to talk to you all day, but as we're wrapping up the podcast, I know many people have been blessed with this conversation we've had today, and you've really given us some great nuggets, golden nuggets here. So, how can leaders or the listeners find you to explore this conversation even further?
I am on Facebook, and then also you can contact me by my email is Carolyn at carolinawarren.com. And as I said, I've have a Facebook page, and all of my books are available on Amazon. I've got The Women at the Table. I also have the Self-Care Journal for Successful Women, and I just published a prayer journal for women as well. And all of them are available on Amazon. So you can just, type in my name and they'll all come up.
Congratulations on being an author and making the great impact that you're making in the community, especially to women. So we've come to the end of the podcast. I always wrap up the podcast with a signature question. What does empowerment mean to you? So it depends, who I have on the show. But today we have a women empowerment expert and a consultant and a coach. So I want to ask you this question. What does empowerment mean to you as a women empowerment expert, coach, and consultant?
I would like to read, I have a little note to my readers in my book, The Women at the Table. And empowerment means to me is that when you helping women to realize that they were created to make a difference, helping them to live authentically every day, helping them move beyond their fears and model your best life. Living your best life is the ultimate goal of success for all of us.
That's powerful. Thank you so much, Caroline. I want to wish you the best in your personal and professional life. Keep up the great work you're doing, making a difference in the lives of others, including women. Thank you so much. You've added a lot of value to our podcast listeners today. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in to this wonderful episode. I know you've been richly blessed. So I would like to say to you, be safe, be well, and I would see you in the next one. Thank you, Caroline. Have a great day.
Thank you.